Hi, Christy.
Hi, Edith. Why are you whispering?
It's Halloween, Christy.
Are you scared?
Maybe. And also, I couldn't sleep last night because I watched Halloween the movie. It's so scary.
It is. I have an idea. Let's tell some Halloween jokes. It's hard to be scared when you're laughing.
Good idea. Can I start?
Yes.
Okay. Where does a ghost go on vacation?
Where?
Malibu.
Okay, I got one.
What do you got?
Why did the ghost go into the bar?
I don't know.
For the booze.
Oh, Christy, what is in a ghost's nose?
What?
Boogers.
I had a feeling. Folks, today we're not just doing garden tips. In honor of Halloween, we're going to tell scary stories and talk all things Halloween.
Because that's just how relevant and edgy we are. Aren't we, Christy? Christy? Oh, please don't nap. Not now. We're on air. Christy, we're doing Upside Down Tulips.
Edith, wake up.
What?
You fell asleep.
No, you did.
No, you did. You were dreaming and singing.
Oh, sorry, Christy.
No blame. I'll tell you a story. This will wake you up.
Okay, great.
Upside Down Tulips.
Oh my gosh, you scared me.
Oh, that's wonderful. Oh my
you look
gosh.
scary, Edith.
Well, it's Halloween, right?
Welcome to our Halloween show, folks. Edith and I just surprised each other with our costumes. I told her I was going to wear a costume, and she said she wasn't, and she did.
Well, if you can call this a costume.
It's good.
It's pretty good, huh?
Edith has a scary mask on and a hat.
I am a gardening vampire.
Oh, I love it.
You see how gray this is?
Yes.
See? So, like Bunnicula, I don't eat blood. I eat vegetables. See?
Love it. It's perfect.
And you, look at you. That is so great. You're the notorious RBG.
That's right.
That's wonderful. Christy, you kind of look like her. I can't believe what you did. I love your hair like that.
Well, she's a short gal like me.
She is indeed.
All I needed was an old, my graduation gown from Rutgers, Go Scarlet Knights, and I made a little lace collar. I put my hair back in a bun, and I have my husband's dad's gavel from when he was a judge.
I can't believe you still have your graduation gown. That is amazing.
You never know when you're going to need a graduation
Like today. You're
like
absolutely right.
Yeah.
You're right.
It's also like, you never know when you're going to need pomp and circumstance playing and having people gather around.
Sure, because that's what Christy Montour Larson does. That's
I
right.
haven't dressed up for Halloween, I think, in decades.
Me either, Christy. I don't either. No. I let the kids do that,
Yeah.
But I do enjoy a Halloween story.
Okay.
I do.
I'm going to tell you one. Journey with me back to the 1970s,
Okay.
where I grew up in Minneapolis with my two brothers and my little sister and our mother. She raised us all by herself. She was beautiful and funny, and boy, was she tired. And this was in the days of free-range kids.
Yeah.
Where we just ran everywhere across the neighborhood. We came home when our mothers called us or the streetlights came on.
Yeah. Good.
It was also the days of the Camden movie theater in North Minneapolis. And this was one of those old-fashioned movie theaters that are very different than today.
Mm-hmm.
It just had one screen.
Mm-hmm.
And it would show some matinees and then movies in the evenings. You could smoke in the movie theater.
Oh, wow. I remember those days.
And you could actually stay and watch the movie again and again, and nobody would ever kick you out.
Wow.
So one Halloween time, my brother and some neighborhood kids had this idea that we would all gather together and go to the movie theater. And for us, going to the movie theater was a big deal. We didn't go very often, and the fact that my mom let us go was a real big deal. Though I think she probably wanted the afternoon off.
Probably,
You
yeah.
don't blame
yeah,
her, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my brother Monty, who we think was about 12, and my brother Joey, who was 11, I think I was 9, and maybe another handful of kids. We all went to the Camden Theater to see the movie Flipper.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
With the dolphin, huh?
Yeah, the dolphin movie. Yeah.
Yeah. And we liked it so much that my brother called my mom and asked if we could watch it again. And she said, sure. My mom was probably like, yes, get out of the house, kids, right?
Uh-huh.
So we watched it again. And my brother was saying that we just had the run of this movie theater, all of us. So maybe there were like 6 or 7 of us kids just running around watching the movie. And then we were having such a good time that my mom let us watch it a third time.
Wow.
Now, I don't remember much about the movie Flipper. You would think I would because I saw it so many times that day. But the third movie was not Flipper, Edith.
What was it?
The third movie that night was Night of the Living Dead.
Oh, you were how old? 9?
9. I was 9 years old.
Man.
And of course, for folks, who are out there, this is the story that follows a group of people trapped in a farmhouse, and they're under assault of a enlarging group of cannibalistic, undead corpses, aka zombies.
Were you scared?
Well, I tell you, this movie was not rated, Edith, at the time. In fact, it was technically a rated X movie, not for nudity, but for the violence of it.
Oh.
So, yeah, it was very scary for a 9-year-old Christy. Still have very strong, vivid memories about it. And, of course, now we laugh about it, and I don't think I was harmed in any way. I don't know. Maybe that's for another day. But I do have very strong memories of being very scared. Have you seen the movie before?
The Night of the Living Dead?
Yeah.
I saw it once a long time ago, yeah.
Was it scary?
It's very scary, yeah.
The scene I remember the most was the little girl who was bitten, and she was, not doing very well, and she was down in the basement. And her mom comes down to try to take care of her, but she had already turned into a zombie. She turns and she has this garden spade. Hey, we got gardening in.
Hey!
Has this gardening spade, and then she attacks her mother with it. It was very scary.
Oh, that must have been, okay, that's a little traumatic.
Yeah.
When you're 9, I think.
And I have a couple other things I'll say about it, which is, one, there was a woman sitting near me or next to me who had this, fake strawberry lip gloss on or perfume.
Yeah.
So to this day, whenever I smell that fake strawberry smell, love real strawberries, but that chemically,
It's a horrible
artificially
smell. Yeah.
strawberry smell, I get a little nauseous from it.
Wow.
Now, here's the kicker in it, is that we lived in the Camden-Weber neighborhood of Minneapolis, and it was about a half a mile that we walked home, the 6 or 8 of us kids, in the dark, and we had to walk by Crystal Cemetery.
No kidding.
Which is one of the oldest cemeteries, I think, in the state of Minnesota, but scary to see a zombie movie.
Of course.
And have to walk by a cemetery. And thanks to my brother Monty for helping me fill in some of the memories.
Nice. Oh, nice. When I was, I had not thought of this in a long time. So when I was in kindergarten, we lived in Weehawken, New Jersey. And we lived in a tenement, big, full of apartments, railroad flats that are one room across. And so my mom, she let us go trick-or-treating only in that building. And, almost nobody gave candy. They gave money.
Oh,
They gave money. By the time
that's kind of nice.
Oh, it's very nice. You can buy any candy you want. So then when we moved to Metuchen, New Jersey, I would wait at the door. All of us would wait for them. Only candy? Where's the money?
Wow.
Where's our money? Nickels, dimes, pennies.
Right.
It was cool, but I've never heard of that happening anywhere else in the country. The people gave money.
Yeah, no.
No.
Sometimes there'd be the really terrible people who would give toothbrushes.
Oh, that's a terrible person.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a bad person.
Did you know, Edith, that the word pumpkin showed up for the very first time in the fairy tale Cinderella?
Really? You mean, now that was written by Perrault, right?
Yes.
P-E-R. He made that word up, or it was translated as that?
It was the first time it showed up in print.
Wow. Did he not write in French?
I do not know.
I don't know either. That's so interesting. Because it's a great word, pumpkin.
Yeah.
It's like a catkin, you know?
Yeah, it is.
I
All
love
those
that
peas.
word. Uh-huh.
Did you know that pumpkins are technically a fruit?
I did not know that.
And I thought you'd love this, Edith. Every single part of the pumpkin is edible.
Really?
The leaves, the flowers, the pulp, the seeds, and even the stem.
The stem? What do you do with the stem?
I have no idea.
Huh. Maybe you make stem whiskey.
Each pumpkin has about 500 seeds.
Oh, I love pumpkin seeds.
The original jack-o'-lanterns were made with turnips and potatoes by the Irish.
You know what? I read about that too. They used those things. Night Watchmen used that. They would put a candle in there to call the time at night, or to be, the night watchman of the town, so that they could light their way. And that's why it started being called jack-o'-lantern. They made a lantern out of the vegetables and a candle.
So clever.
Isn't that cool?
Pumpkins are grown on every continent except Antarctica, which I guess makes sense because it's a little colder.
That does make sense, yeah.
Out of the 1.5 billion pounds of pumpkins that are grown every year, 800 million pumpkins are ripe for the picking in October.
Wow.
And the last thing I'll say is, do you know that pumpkin spice has no pumpkin in it?
Really? How do you get the pumpkin flavor? Is it just...
It's the spices that we would put in pumpkin things.
Oh.
So pumpkin spice, when you order pumpkin spice latte or pumpkin spice muffin, there's no pumpkin in it.
So when it smells like pumpkin, or when it smells like something we ate at one time, like pumpkin pie, just like your smell of strawberry triggers nausea, because smelling is such a strong, it
connects with memory.
And it just throws you back to that time.
So pumpkin spice is essentially cinnamon and nutmeg.
Oh, that is so interesting. I had no idea. Now, did you know that the person who really made the jack-o'-lantern a thing was Washington Irving, who wrote The Legend of Sleepy Hollow?
Oh.
That's why it became a really big thing in this country. When he wrote that story, and the Headless Horseman, and then he throws the jack-o'-lantern at the at the
so
Ichabod.
Scary.
Mm-hmm. I'd like to say a few. I just reread that so I would be prepared for this. So his name was Ichabod Crane. According to what I read, Ichabod, that word comes from the biblical Hebrew and means inglorious.
Oh.
Now, I don't speak Hebrew, so I'm hoping that they are not lying. One of the most interesting things about this story, it was written in 1817, and it gives such an amazing picture of that time. Ichabod Crane was a school teacher. He didn't make enough money to rent a place of his own, So we're not doing much better by teachers today, I guess.
Right.
So he had to go house to house to house. I'll also point out, and I don't know, when I read it as a kid, maybe it was a condensed version, but the original version, Christy, is quite racist.
Well, I guess that's not surprising.
No. And it's casually racist. Just totally casual, like...
Every day, like this is the way things are.
Every day, this is the way things are. Not really a full human being over there. So interesting. Yeah.
Also scary.
Very scary.
Well, that swings back a little bit to Night of the Living Dead, because the hero of that movie was an African-American actor.
Okay.
One of the first times that an African-American man was the star of a film, and when, spoiler alert, when his character, if people just would have done what he said to do, they all would have lived, but nobody paid any attention to him.
No kidding.
And at the end of the movie, when everybody's dead and he survived the night and he comes out and all the cops are outside the house with their German shepherds, what did they do to him? They shoot him.
Christy, I had totally forgotten that. That's like at the end of Get Out. When
Exactly.
They had two separate endings, and the one was the cops were going to shoot him, and then they decided not to go with that because it was too much of a downer.
Well, and also, but didn't you, when you saw Get Out, didn't your heart go into your stomach when the cops showed up?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway. It's
Wow.
interesting.
It is very interesting. Who knew Halloween was so interesting? Huh?
Are you going to carve a jack-o'-lantern this year?
I am not.
I'm going to carve some.
I tried one once, and it was insane looking. And not only that, I put it out, and within one day, the squirrels had attacked it, and it just looked like it had a big hole in its head.
Yeah, that's something that I learned, is that I didn't know that squirrels liked pumpkins so much.
Yeah.
So I had some pumpkins outside. I sprayed them with some pepper. I made a little pepper spray to see if that helps.
Not the kind that you use in a demonstration, right?
No, just a little homemade spray.
Okay, good.
And in the scheme of Upside Down Tulips, mistakes we've made along the way, I've also carved my pumpkins too early. Thinking like, I'm going to get a jump on Halloween, and I'm going to carve, and then I set them out there, and then 4 days later,
they've caved in.
Yeah. And so I'm going to wait a bit, carve them at the very last second, and then I've also learned that if you spray them with a little bleach solution, that will help.
Really? Well, that's interesting.
So, I got a lot of bleach now because of COVID, so I've got that to spare.
That's a good hack. We're getting to the point where we could do a whole show just about hacks,
right?
You know?
Yeah. I've also learned one last thing about pumpkins is that the mistake I've made is that I thought, I grew this pumpkin, I'm so proud of myself, and so I'm going to scoop this pumpkin flesh out, and I'm going to make my Thanksgiving pumpkin pie out of this.
Christy, I did that once.
Yeah?
It was awful.
It's terrible. You have to really get the canned pumpkin pie filling.
Yeah. It was like a watery, pumpkin-y mess.
Yeah.
With clods of stringy pumpkin. It was bad.
Not all pumpkins are created equal,
No.
I guess. And it has a lot to do with the moisture content because pumpkins are 90% water.
Oh, okay.
80% water, something like that.
It would be like making a watermelon pie. That would be terrible.
Right. Unless there's ice cream.
Ice cream makes everything better.
In a world in the north of the country, a man and his wife buy a house and for the first time ever, plant a garden. They'd never been happier. The flowers, the vegetables, the sunshine. But suddenly, without warning, it was September.
Darling, where are you going?
Out to the garden.
What are you doing with those carrot seeds?
I'm going to do another fall planting.
Oh, John, no. It's too late. It's far too late for planting. We're Zone 3B. Everything will just die.
It's not too late. Hello, little garden. Here's Johnny.
Darling, the sun is almost down. I don't like it out here in the dark. Oh, what was that?
Bats. Looking for food.
The insects are dead because it's fall. Johnny, please, just put the garden fork down and come inside.
I'm planting these, Betty, and you can't stop me.
The bats, they're in my hair.
They're just looking for food, Betty.
Help me.
I have to finish planting these before it gets too dark to see. I am not wasting these seeds. They're heirlooms. Damn it. Where did that seed go? Darling, would you bring me a flashlight? Never mind, Betty. I've got one in the shed.
Johnny!
From an innocent summer idyll to the emptiness, the darkness, the terror of the killing frost. Not appropriate for zones 11 and up. The killing frost, coming to a garden near you.
Okay, Edith.
Yeah, Christy.
What's your favorite Halloween memory?
Oh, okay. Okay, I got it. After college, I became part of the Market District Theater in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Right across the street was the kind of famous farmers market where the Amish and Mennonites would come and sell their stuff. We did stuff like Ionesco at night, but we had a children's theater called the Jack Pudding Players, and we did that in the morning, Friday and Saturday morning. So it was right around Halloween, and we were doing Sleeping Beauty. And I was cast as the villain, the evil fairy.
Oh,
And
yeah, that's a good part.
It's a wonderful. Well, I never get to play villains, so I thought I am going to dig so deep and I am going to be so evil. And we costumed ourselves always from the thrift store. So I had all this stuff. I looked more like a witch, I guess, than a bad fairy. So it was a small theater. The kids sat on little rug samples. We didn't even have a stage. Really tiny theater, but very popular with the kids. In fact, mothers would come and drop their kids off another time, right, while they went to the market.
Yeah.
So there we are. I come on, I hear my cue, and I come out, and I'm like, be evil, be evil, be evil. And I put Carol, who was playing Sleeping Beauty, I put her to sleep. And I turned to the kids, and I just gave out like this victorious evil howl. And I said something like, now she will sleep forever, like that. From the back of the theater, I hear a scream. A little girl, 5 or 6, I hear this loud scream, and she runs out of the theater. And no one follows her. So I'm like, oh, no. Oh, no.
And no grown-up by her.
No grown-up. The grown-up that should have been in the box office, I guess, was in the bathroom. So this little girl runs out of the theater. Well, there I am on stage, and I'm like, I look at Carol, who's like half opening her eyes to see. She can't get up. I just put her to sleep forever. Mm-hmm. The men are behind the set. They don't know what's going on. So I go after the little girl.
You're chasing in your costume.
I forgot I had my costume on. And I'm running down the street calling her, little girl, I'm just a person. And then I realize I have a wig, I have a hat, I have all this stuff on. So I start taking it off. Now I'm running down the street in a wig cap and like a witch's costume and a wig cap. And I finally catch up with her. And I said, look at me. I'm not. Look, see, this was a wig. And I show her the wig. And
I'll pretend.
I'll pretend. Come on. And I take her hand and we go back to the theater. And I had to sit with her until my next cue because finally I gained her trust.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, my gosh. But I learned a really good lesson. When you do theater for children, you have to add some humor to the villainy. You don't go doing, the deep stuff.
That's a really good point.
Isn't that a good point?
And strangely enough, Edith, when I first started directing plays, one of the first gigs I ever got that I got paid for was a production of Sleeping Beauty.
Really?
And my brother, Monty, and his daughter at the time came up to see the play, and the evil fairy scared her so much that she was petrified that the only thing that would calm her down was to have her meet the actor out of costume.
Wow. Because kids believe everything. They totally believe that I was this evil, evil thing.
And it just shows you what a great job, what a good actor you are too, Edith.
And how misguided as well. You imagine the Mennonites standing watching this little girl run by and then me run after her.
But those fairy tales are scary.
They are, especially if you do them like the originals, which of course we didn't, because, who wants blood Saturday morning at the children's theater? But yeah, they are scary.
Well, here's one of my most favorite Halloween memories.
Okay.
It's 1991, and I am newly married. I just graduated from undergrad at the University of Minnesota, Duluth, and I was directing a show. And this was the year that all the rage for Halloween were these giant leaf bags that were orange that had giant jack-o'-lantern faces on them.
So clever. I remember those.
So that when you put your leaves inside, it looked like a giant jack-o'-lantern.
Yes.
They'd first come on. Everybody had them. This was also the same week, this Halloween week, on October 30th, that had the perfect storm from the East Coast of the United States that was depicted in the book by Sebastian Junger, The Perfect Storm, with the movie with George Clooney.
Oh, yeah.
Now, remember, weather predictions were different then, and they weren't as accurate. So this Halloween, the day before was the perfect storm on the East Coast. The day in Duluth, Minnesota began as rain, and then it quickly changed to freezing rain. And by 1 o'clock, it was snowing in Duluth on Halloween.
You had ice under the snow.
And snow. Now, snow and cold weather is not uncommon for Halloween in Minnesota.
Yeah.
I have many memories of wearing snowmobile suits trick-or-treating as a kid. However, this was different because that snow that started at 1 p.m. on October 31st did not end until 1 p.m. on November 3rd.
Oh, come on. Wow.
Meaning that the snow fell continuously for 72 hours and sometimes 2 inches an hour.
Wow.
So it snowed for 72 hours with a total of 37 inches at the Duluth airport and 45 inches across the bay in Superior, Wisconsin.
Wow.
Now, here are 2 interesting things about this.
Okay.
Is 1, kids still trick-or-treated.
Of course they did.
I'm showing you a picture of one. Here's like people digging out of the snow.
Look at that.
And then below that, there are kids who are trick-or-treating in the snow. Here's another picture. Look at this kid. I think you can't even tell what they're wearing, their costumes were because they, but maybe they were ballerinas with winter coats on. I can't tell. And the jack-o'-lanterns are all covered in
I love that picture.
in snow.
That's beautiful.
And every kid that came to my house got 2 Snicker bars.
Nice.
And then when it starts to snow in Minnesota, once you get a big snow, you know, it's just there.
Oh, it's there for the months, right?
For the whole time. So eventually, of course, we got more and more snow and, you know, they're scooping up, digging it away, trying to, this is a terrible long winter, especially when it starts October 31st. Like, there you are.
Yeah.
But finally, of course, the snow started to melt in the spring.
Yeah.
And what was revealed were all those leaf bags that people had stuffed because they were all covered with snow for 4 months.
That's a lot of snow to cover the leaf bag. Wow.
An incredible, strange Halloween in Minnesota, 1991.
They made leaf mold.
They
They made leaf mold wrapping around the gardening. Christy, I have a real ghost story. Really,
Oh, good.
real,
Let's hear it.
the truth that happened to me. Okay,
Should we turn off the lights and get you a flashlight that you could put underneath
no,
your chin?
no. You know, this isn't for you so much as our listeners.
Okay.
Sometimes you seem to forget that.
So everybody at home, turn off your lights.
This is a true story, I swear. Okay, at the same time that I was working at the Market District Theater. 2 actors, David and Harry, and I, moved into what was called the Fordney House in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. It was, half of it was, not half, a third of it was built in the 1700s and it had electricity. 2/3 of it was built in the 1800s and it didn't even have electricity. I found out later that it was built by a man named Melchior Fordney, one of the best gunsmiths of his time. And one day when he and his wife were in the shop, a crazy person with an axe came and hacked them to death. I didn't know that when we moved into this Fordney mansion. So we only lived
an axe.
With an axe.
Why is it always with an axe?
I think there were less tools. And what can you do with like a hoe? It's just harder to do it with a hoe, you know?
Yeah.
So we lived in we only stayed in the smaller part of the house with electricity. One time we walked through the other part, and Christy, it was dusty and dirty and cobwebby and scary and old newspapers hanging around on the floor. It was filthy. And the bartender where I worked part-time told me he had a great uncle that had hung himself. And sure, within about a week of living there, we started hearing the sounds. Pounding sounds, knocking sounds.
Oh my goodness.
Rustling sounds.
Oh no.
And we'd go and answer the door and nobody would be there ever. So after a while, we kind of got used to it, you know. I'm like, oh, okay, that's not so terrible. To get into the newer, unelectrified part of the house, there was a gigantic ballroom, like as big as like a Southern mansion ballroom.
Wow.
And David was in there one time with our dog Loki, and he swears that he saw a face looking through the pocket doors. And the dog went crazy. So the first thing
Dogs know.
Yeah, they know. Well, the first thing David did was go check the front door, which was locked. So nobody was in the house. He said, "Come on, Loki." And he went to go through the threshold, and the dog would not go. So he didn't go either.
Smart.
About a week after that, we were rehearsing in the ballroom. Mm-hmm. In the other room, we left the dog in the other room. And all of a sudden, we're in the ballroom rehearsing. It was getting to be dusk. We heard the dog just go crazy, howling in a way that I have never heard that sounds coming out of that dog. We rush into the room where the dog is. There was a conga drum. You know, conga drums are what, like 3-4 feet high? That was lying on its side. It had had a cup of coffee on it that was half full. The cup was on the ground next to the drum, unspilled. Not a drop was spilled. Yes, honestly. The dog was as far away as he could get, crushed into a corner, just whimpering, just terrified, the hair straight up. Well, we're like, well, wow, okay, huh, you know.
It's hard for your brain to process strange things like
Plus,
that.
when you're really, really young, you just assume, well, it's not going to hurt me. You know, it's probably just trying to, you know, mess with my nerves. Then we get an eviction notice because a society wanted to change, cosmetically fix up the old part of the house. When we got that letter, the pounding, the knocking, everything intensified. And one night we were saying, you know, I wonder if the ghost is angry. Let's ask it. So we wrote a note that said, how do you feel about these women coming in and taking your home away? We left the note on the stairs, you know, on the stairs halfway up into the old part of the landing. On the landing, yeah, on the landing into the unelectric part of the house. We left the pencil on top of it. We went to bed. We come down the next morning. The note had been ripped in half. The pencil was broken and was at different parts of the room, and the wallpaper had been torn off the walls.
Wow.
No kidding.
That's your answer.
Yeah, and we all looked at each other and went, did you do this? Did you get up in the middle of the night? Because we were all up late, you know. No, we were all like ashen white, you know.
You could tell if somebody was faking it.
You can, well, yeah, we were all actors, and we know when another actor's not being true, you know. But that is my true to life ghost story.
I've got chills. That is frightening.
This day, to this day, that whatever they did, the society did not work out. They were going to have people walk through and charge them. Today, it is a home for the homeless.
Ooh.
The same mansion. They did fix it up, and they're now housing homeless people.
Which is a good thing, unless they're being haunted.
Yeah, well,
we'll just say the ghost is happy too.
Let's just say that. Let's just say it had a happy ending.
Oh, Edith, good job. That's a great story.
It's a true story.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Wow. I guess when you're young, you know, you don't really believe in malevolent beings, malevolent gods. You don't. You just think you're gonna make it. Now that's, you know, probably an error of youth, but we were young, so you know. Christy, I have another story.
Well, I'm excited. Bring it on.
Okay, it's scary in a whole different way, though. It's kind of a funny story. So I have a sister named Dagmar who was actually born on Halloween. And she lives in Tampa. I hadn't seen her for a couple of years, and I got a job working at the Comedy Works in Tampa. And she goes, if you're going to come to Tampa, you have got to come and meet my partner, Hamid. He's from Iran. They are really into family. He really wants to meet you. He wants to cook you a feast.
Oh.
Because that's what they do. And I said, well, I kind of like a feast. Sure. You know, when you're on the road, you pretty much eat crap. So I go over to their house, and Hamid opens the door, and he is the most charming, nice man, you know, and so welcoming. That's the first thing I noticed. The second thing I noticed was the unbelievably wonderful smells. Oh, my goodness. He made bread. He made Iranian bread, that flat bread that they make.
Ooh, yeah.
And this meat stew, wonderful smell was coming through. The third thing I noticed was a clicking sound, a rhythmic click, 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 click. And I'm like, that's weird. And it never stopped. It was always exactly the same. Click, 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 click. And I thought, well, maybe it's a strange clock. I don't know. So we walked through the kitchen to go to the pool, and on the stove is a very large pot, and sticking out from under the lid were teeth. Were an animal skull. The skull.
Oh.
Yeah, not.
Okay. But still, a skull is creepy too.
Well, okay, that's what it was. It was the animal's teeth chattering because it was boiling.
Yeah.
And I look at him, I'm like, okay, keep calm. It's like goat's head soup, like the roll. I'm
sure.
okay,
Yeah,
I'm good
yeah.
with this, I'm fine.
Yeah.
We go back and we sit by the pool, and Hamid brings out beautiful herbs and olives and cheeses. And I'm like, this is wonderful. This is so great. And then he says, dinner's ready, and he serves us. And he serves us this amazing-looking stew. I don't know, Christy, if it was goat or lamb. I don't know what it was. And then he says, now, because you're a guest, you get the best part. And Dagmar's looking at me like, with these big eyes, like, and he puts 2 eyeballs on my plate. Two eyeballs. No. I was raised, a Slavic dad and a German mom, and when you don't eat at somebody's house, you offend them deeply.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And I'm like, oh, so this is why Dagmar was staring at me. She knew this was coming. So I said, this is so great. Hamid, surely you'll have one of these eyeballs. I couldn't eat 2 eyeballs.
You could do one.
I could do one.
To be polite.
Yeah. So he said, okay. So he
and
took
they were
it.
cooked, right? Cooked eyeballs?
Oh, yes. Oh, my gosh, yes. They were cooked. They were cooked. He said it was the most tender part of the animal. So I thought maybe if I slice it, and it won't look like an eyeball anymore, so I sliced it.
Yeah.
But then you know what it reminded me of? That short film by Salvador Dali. Have you seen it where the eyeball is sliced?
No, but I'm using my imagination, Edith.
It's a French.
It was more horrifying than if you just would have popped it in your
I
mouth.
just should have popped it because that's what popped into my mind. And I'm like, oh, no. And I ate it.
Yeah.
I did.
Good
I
for
ate
you.
the eyeball.
I think I would have eaten the eyeball too.
It's in your head that it's so horrible, right?
Yeah.
It's just in our head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it would have been hard.
It was not easy, I must say. And but the meal was amazing. It was a really nice evening, and it's a great memory now.
When you have to, eat the eyeball. That's the moral.
That's a good one too. When you have to, you eat the eyeball. Yes. I actually should ask for his recipe of whatever he made that day, because it was really good.
I have some recipes.
Okay.
Just a couple for
Not
Halloween.
Okay. I want to hear. I hope one of them is this delicious cider that you gave me.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. So I love apple cider a lot. And it's a very quick and easy recipe that people can have for Halloween. If you get unfiltered apple juice.
Uh-huh.
So it won't be clear. It'll be a little cloudy.
Uh-huh.
And then add in cinnamon stick, of course. Whole cloves, of course. But my 2 secrets to that are orange and ginger.
Oh, that is what that wonderful taste is. It is so good.
Orange is also a very autumnal flavor.
It is, because everything is orange in the fall. Mm-hmm.
And then, do you ever roast pumpkin seeds?
I have done that. That is that's a really fun, wonderful thing to do.
Especially when we found out a pumpkin has 500 seeds.
Uh-huh.
I have 2 hacks for it, though.
Okay.
Because sometimes when you roast pumpkin seeds, they're just chewy.
I only did it once because of that, because I couldn't get them clean. I couldn't get all that stuff off of them.
The trick that I learned is to cover the seeds with warm water and salt for 24 hours.
Oh.
Because it sounds strange to help get a crispy pumpkin seed, but it also helped get the gunk off, and the seeds will soak in the salt. And then you drain the water off and lay them on cookie sheets to dry for 8 hours or overnight. Toss them with oil and spices. A little bit of sugar is also good, I think. And then roast for 20 to 30 minutes at 400.
Oh,
and they'll be crispy.
That's delicious.
And they won't be chewy.
Yeah. Previously on Stranger Garden Things.
Just wait right here by this compost pile, Rhubarb. I'll be right back.
Please don't leave me alone, Christy. It feels strange here.
rhubarb. Rhubarb? Barb!
And now, stranger garden things.
Barb, where are you? Barb. Thanks for helping me search for rhubarb, Edith.
Where are we? Your garden is all upside down. Even though this garden contains the same locations and infrastructure of your garden, it is much darker, colder, and obscured by an omnipresent fog, while ash-like spores drift through the air.
It appears we have slipped down a portal into an alternate dimension. Ooh, check out how everything is overgrown with ropey root-like tendrils and biological membranes covering practically every surface.
It all feels strange, Christy. I'm scared. Let's get out of here.
But we have to find my rhubarb.
I don't like that strange-looking compost pile.
Oh, no. What is that strange thing sitting on top of it? Barb?
No. Oh, it's just a spaghetti squash. The seeds must have germinated because the compost pile wasn't hot enough because you haven't turned it in a year.
Wait, look over there. That thing is even stranger. With all this fog and ash-like spores, I can't tell. What is that stranger thing?
It appears to be a very, very large zucchini. This is what happens when you don't harvest zucchini in time. Zucchini is best harvested when the fruit is about 6 inches long. If left unharvested, zucchini squash will easily reach...
Oh my gourd! It sees us! Run! Wait! What about me?
Sorry, rhubarb. Normally we don't mind things upside down, but this is all just too strange.
Yuck. Need sugar.
And now it's time for our spooky inspiration of the week.
Ooh.
This is by Robert Brault. There is a child in every one of us who is still a trick-or-treater looking for a brightly lit front porch.
Oh, more inspiration, please.
This is from Stephen Graham Jones. Some people are born for Halloween, and some are just counting the days until Christmas.
That is great. That's good.
And that's our Halloween special. That was fun, Edith.
That was really, really fun.
Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for listening.
Yes, you are wonderful listeners, and we are Edith Weiss and Christy Montour-Larson.
If you enjoy Upside Down Tulips, please give us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Tunes or wherever you like to listen to podcasts.
We need to thank Denise Gentilini for composing and performing the Upside Down Tulips theme song. If you want to hear more of Denise's music, go to denisegentilini.com, or you can find that link on our website.
And a special thanks to our friends and talented actors, Michael Morgan and Karen Slack.
Now don't forget, if you make a mistake,
Your garden will forgive you.
always.
Hey, Edith,
Yeah,
why wouldn't the pumpkin cross the road?
I don't know.
Didn't have the guts.
I thought you were going to say it was going to get squashed.
That would have worked too.
Upside down.